Several times before on my radio show, we've had the discussion about which team is Georgia's biggest rival. Some older fans may say Georgia Tech just because it's the in-state school that is 70 miles away from Athens. Some believe it may be even Tennessee or Auburn, and some may even point the rivalry with Clemson as the best one. But make no mistake about this, Georgia's biggest rivalry is with Florida. And I'm a bit partial because I grew up in South Georgia, so I know all about what happens every year in Jacksonville. And that's what made last Saturday's game between the Bulldogs and the Gators the most sickening game I've watched in a long time. 27-3. Florida killed Georgia by 24 points. Now, there are a lot of things that I could bring up against Mark Richt, and I do on a regular basis, but the fact that he is 5-10 against Georgia's biggest rival is indefensible. How many coaches survived going 5-10 against their biggest rival in a 15-year span? Again, I could sit here for 10 minutes and spout off plenty of stats and records that would not make Rick's case look very good. But do I need anything else but his record against Florida? Rick lost the first game in his first season against Steve Spurrier before the old ball coach left for the NFL. Then Ron Zook came in and beat Rick 2 of the 3 seasons he was in Gainesville. Urban Meyer was next. And the only time in 6 years Rick beat Meyer was when his team ran out and celebrated in the end zone after that first touchdown of that game. That made Meyer so mad he called timeouts at the end of the game the next season when Florida was blowing Georgia out just to make Rick suffer through it a little bit longer. Then Rick did have success against Will Muschamp, winning 3 of 4, but losing last year 3 weeks before Muschamp was fired. Ugh. And then last Saturday, the Gators' new coach, Jim McElwain, beat Rick in his first game in this rivalry. There is nothing that makes Rick's record look bad more than what he's done against Florida. And now, 2 years after the Gators lost to Georgia Southern and a year after they fired a coach, the new guy has come in and made the Gators better than the Bulldogs. And hey, Georgia fans, a second-string quarterback beat your Bulldogs by 24 points. Rick made the dumb decision of starting his third-string quarterback, and look what happened. 4 interceptions, and that poor kid, Fatone Bauda, had no chance, particularly with his offensive line getting manhandled. Florida had floundered, but even then, the last 2 seasons, Rick and his Bulldogs could not even win the last 2 years of the SEC East. Missouri won it instead. Now Florida is back. They will win it and they win the East and go to Atlanta next month to play in the SEC Championship game, while Georgia will watch it on television. The Gators have passed the Bulldogs already, but hey, Rick did have a 15-year head start on McElwain. This is just one of the reasons. A main reason, however, that the University of Georgia needs to hit the reset button and fire Mark Richt. If he can't beat the Gators more than 5 times in 15 years, then it's time to find someone who can. The Georgia-Florida game means everything, or so it should. But in the Mark Richt era, it's just a chance for this overrated coach to show how, once again, he can fail at winning a big game. Please, someone in Athens, push the reset button, or will it take a third head coach in Florida's history winning a national championship in a few years to prove that once again the Florida Gators have passed the Georgia Bulldogs?